All right, gearing up for a Bookshop Manager interview. We've got RoleCatcher's career and interview guides here, ready to help you nail it. It's more than just loving books, though, right? You'll be running the whole show.
Yeah, what's fascinating is that the RoleCatcher Career Guide paints a really vivid picture of this role. Imagine, a bustling city corner or maybe a charming neighborhood nook, and of course, a constant flow of customers, vendors, oh, and that ever-present aroma of fresh ink and paper.
Ah, the intoxicating scent of a bookshop. But let's be real, it's also a fast-paced retail world with long hours, especially during peak seasons. You'll be managing staff, juggling inventory, and maybe even calming down the occasional overly enthusiastic reader.
Precisely. And that's where the nitty-gritty of the RoleCatcher Guide comes in handy. They highlight skills that go beyond the expected organization and communication. Like analyzing sales figures, understanding complex problems, perhaps a sudden surge in demand for a niche genre, and even negotiation. Think about haggling with suppliers or maybe even that rare first edition acquisition.
Okay, so part bookworm, part business mastermind. Got it. But how do you actually show these skills off in an interview? That's where the interview guide comes in, right?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher has compiled a list of common interview questions. But what's really impressive is their AI. It analyzes job descriptions to identify the specific skills needed for this particular bookshop. You can tailor your resume and answers to really hit the mark. For instance, if the job description emphasizes community engagement, you'll want to showcase your experience with events and partnerships.
Talk about a personalized cheat sheet. So let's dive into some of these questions, starting with a classic. What experience do you have managing a bookshop?
Hmm.
Now, what if you haven't managed a bookshop before? Don't panic, right?
Exactly. This is where you highlight transferable skills from any relevant experience. Think about times you've handled customer issues, managed stocks, or even led a team, even if it was in a coffee shop. The core skills are surprisingly similar.
So it's all about connecting the dots for them.
Mm.
While my background is in mentioning your previous role, you might say, I've honed skills in mention relevant skills, which I believe would be invaluable in creating a thriving bookshop environment. I like it.
Yeah.
But what about follow-up questions? They might dig deeper into those specific examples.
Absolutely. Be prepared to elaborate on how you handled a challenging customer, for instance, or what steps you took to improve efficiency in your previous role. The key is to be specific and showcase your problem-solving abilities. Remember, they're not just looking for someone who loves books, but someone who can manage a bookshop effectively.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's move on to a question that requires a bit more creative thinking. What are your strategies for increasing book sales?
Mm.
Now, obviously discounts are a classic, but they're probably looking for something a bit more imaginative, right?
You hit the nail on the head. This is your chance to demonstrate a deep understanding of both the book market and community engagement. Think beyond discounts. What about themed reading nights, book clubs, or collaborations with local schools? You could even propose a social media campaign highlighting staff picks or hidden literary
Oh,
gems.
I love that. And RoleCatcher's AI could even give you feedback on how those ideas align with the specific bookshop's target audience.
Precisely. It's like having a personalized coach in your corner. But remember, be ready for those follow-up questions. They might ask you to elaborate on how you'd implement those strategies, what resources you'd need, or how you'd measure success. The key is to show you've thought it through, from concept to execution.
All right, let's tackle another practical question. How do you manage inventory and ensure the bookshop is well stocked? This one feels like it could be a real make or break moment, right?
You're absolutely right. This is where organizational skills come into play. The RoleCatcher Guide emphasizes staying on top of new releases and trends. Mention any inventory systems you've used in the past, but also your personal approach. Do you actively seek out independent publishers, or are you a whiz at predicting the next literary sensation?
And I bet they'd love to hear about your personal reading habits. It shows you have a genuine passion for books. But again, let's think about potential follow-up questions. What if they ask about a time you had to deal with a stock shortage or a sudden surge in demand for a particular title? How would you handle that?
Those are excellent points. It's all about showcasing your ability to anticipate challenges, adapt to changing circumstances, and find creative solutions. Perhaps you could mention a time you had to quickly restock a popular book, or how you proactively ordered extra copies of a title you anticipated would be in high demand. These real-life examples can really make your answers shine.
All right, we've covered 3 key questions, and you're already sounding like a pro. But hold on, folks, because we're just getting started.
In part 2, we'll delve into even more challenging questions, covering everything from customer complaints to staff management, all with the help of RoleCatcher's insights and that amazing AI feedback system. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of bookshop management. We're prepping you for that interview, so let's jump right back into those crucial questions, guided by RoleCatcher's wisdom.
All right, let's tackle one that can feel a bit tricky. How do you ensure a positive customer experience? Seems simple on the surface, but I bet there's a lot to unpack here.
You're absolutely right. RoleCatcher emphasizes that it goes beyond just being friendly. It's about creating a space where customers feel welcome, engaged, and inspired, almost like a literary haven.
So it's about curating the entire experience. From the moment someone walks through the door, think cozy reading nooks, inviting displays, maybe even the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the air.
Precisely. And don't underestimate the power of the human touch. Well-trained staff who can offer personalized recommendations, vibrant book clubs, author events that create a buzz, all these contribute to a sense of community. Remember, it's about turning the bookshop into a destination, a place where people connect with their love of reading.
Okay, that paints a lovely picture. But let's be real. There will be challenging customers.
Yeah.
How do you handle those tricky situations? They might ask you about a specific time you dealt with a difficult customer, wanting to see how you stay calm under pressure.
That's where your empathy and problem-solving skills shine. RoleCatcher suggests active listening as a first step. Try to understand their perspective, remain calm, and offer a solution that addresses their specific concern. Maybe they're looking for a rare book, or perhaps they're frustrated with a long wait at the checkout.
So it's not about placing blame, but about finding a resolution that leaves the customer feeling heard and respected. Maybe even offering a small gesture of goodwill, like a bookmark or a discount. But let's shift gears to another crucial aspect. How do you manage and motivate a team of book lovers?
That's a fantastic question, and one that RoleCatcher delves into quite deeply. Leading a team of passionate individuals requires a unique approach. Think about fostering a culture of learning and growth. Encourage staff to read widely, attend industry events, perhaps even create a book club specifically for employees.
I love that idea. It's like building a mini university for book enthusiasts, right?
Yeah.
But how do you translate that passion into tangible results? What if they ask about specific strategies for increasing sales or improving customer service?
Excellent point. This is where you connect those learning opportunities to concrete outcomes. Perhaps you could implement a staff recommendation program where employees highlight their favorite reads, or encourage them to create themed displays based on current events or literary anniversaries. The key is to empower your team to share their knowledge and enthusiasm with customers.
And I bet RoleCatcher's AI could even analyze those ideas and provide feedback on how they align with the specific bookshop's goals and target audience.
You're absolutely right. Imagine receiving personalized advice on how to tailor your staff training programs or incentive systems for maximum impact. That's the power of AI at your fingertips.
Okay, let's delve into another question that often trips people up. How do you stay up to date with industry trends and new releases? It feels like an impossible task with so many books being published every day.
It can certainly feel overwhelming, but this is where your passion for books becomes your superpower. RoleCatcher suggests subscribing to industry publications like Publishers Weekly, attending book fairs and conferences. Even listening to podcasts like this one can be beneficial.
Absolutely. And don't forget about those good old-fashioned browsing sessions at bookstores. But let's be realistic. Time is precious, especially for a busy bookshop manager. How do you prioritize what to read and what trends to follow? The interviewer might ask how you filter through all the noise and focus on what's relevant for their specific bookshop.
That's a great question. One approach is to tailor your reading habits to the bookshop's target audience. If you're managing a children's bookstore, immerse yourself in the world of children's literature. Attend industry events focused on children's books, connect with librarians and teachers, and follow blogs and podcasts dedicated to that genre. The key is to be strategic in your approach.
Okay, that makes sense. But let's not forget about those less glamorous aspects of the job, like dealing with customer complaints. How do you handle a situation where a customer is unhappy with a purchase or an interaction with staff? What if they ask for a specific example of a challenging customer service situation you resolved successfully?
Those are excellent points. Remember, every complaint is an opportunity to learn and improve. RoleCatcher recommends documenting all complaints, analyzing the root cause, and implementing solutions to prevent similar issues in the future. Perhaps a customer was frustrated with a long wait at checkout. Maybe it's time to consider implementing a self-checkout kiosk or optimizing your staffing schedule during peak hours.
It's all about being proactive and solution-oriented. And I bet those real-life examples would really impress an interviewer, showing them you can handle those tough situations with grace and efficiency.
Absolutely. Demonstrating that you can learn from past experiences and implement positive change is a key quality of a successful bookshop manager. Now, as we move into the final part of our deep dive, we'll tackle those big picture questions. Managing the bookshop's budget, creating an inclusive space, and finding that delicate balance between customer satisfaction, staff well-being, and the bottom line.
Stay tuned, folks. We've got more invaluable insights coming your way.
Welcome back to the final chapter of our Bookshop Manager interview deep dive. Let's talk about the big picture, those questions that really test your overall understanding of the business.
Okay, I'm ready for the challenge. We've covered a lot of ground, but what about the financial side of things? I imagine questions about managing budgets and ensuring profitability are pretty much guaranteed, right?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher really emphasizes the importance of financial acumen. They might ask you, how would you manage the bookshop's budget and ensure its success? This is where you demonstrate that you can balance literary passions with sound business sense.
So it's not just about knowing your Dostoevsky from your Dickens. It's about understanding the bottom line. But what kind of concrete examples could you share?
Think about strategies for maximizing sales, like creative marketing campaigns or partnerships with local businesses. Maybe you have experience negotiating favorable terms with suppliers, or you've implemented a system to minimize waste and optimize inventory turnover. Those are all valuable insights to share.
And don't forget about those impulse buys near the register. Everyone loves a well-placed display of literary-themed mugs or quirky bookmarks. But let's be real, budgets can be tight, especially for independent bookshops. What if they ask about a time you had to make tough financial decisions?
That's where your analytical skills come into play. Be prepared to discuss how you would approach cost-cutting measures, prioritize spending, or even explore new revenue streams. Perhaps you could share an example of how you successfully reduced expenses, but without sacrificing customer service or staff morale.
Okay, that makes sense. But beyond the numbers, let's talk about creating an inclusive environment for all customers. I imagine that's a topic that's top of mind for many bookshops today.
You're absolutely right. RoleCatcher dedicates an entire section of their career guide to fostering diversity and inclusion. They might ask you, how would you ensure that the bookshop is a welcoming space for everyone, regardless of their background or reading preferences? This is where your commitment to social responsibility shines.
So it goes beyond just having a diverse selection of books on the shelves.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating an atmosphere of respect and understanding, right? But how do you translate those values into concrete actions?
Think about staff training programs that emphasize cultural sensitivity and awareness, encourage employees to recommend books by authors from diverse backgrounds and representing a variety of perspectives. Perhaps you could host events or book clubs that celebrate different cultures or literary traditions.
And what about representing diverse voices within the staff itself? They might ask about your approach to hiring and team building, ensuring that your team reflects the diversity of the community you serve.
That's a great point. Be prepared to discuss your commitment to equal opportunity employment practices and your strategies for recruiting a diverse pool of candidates. You could even highlight any experience you have with mentorship programs or initiatives that support underrepresented groups within the bookselling industry.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, from managing finances to fostering inclusivity. But before we wrap up, let's address the question that ties it all together. It's a big one. How do you balance the needs of customers and staff with the financial goals of the bookshop? Talk about a juggling act.
It certainly is. This question assesses your ability to think holistically and make decisions that benefit all stakeholders. RoleCatcher reminds us that happy customers and a motivated staff are essential for a thriving bookshop, but financial sustainability is equally crucial.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where everyone wins. But how do you actually walk that tightrope?
Transparency and open communication are key. Encourage feedback from both customers and staff. Be upfront about the financial realities of the business, while also emphasizing the importance of investing in your team and creating a positive work environment.
It's about building a sense of shared ownership and responsibility, right? Where everyone feels valued and understands that their contributions are essential to the bookshop's success.
Precisely. And remember, when faced with difficult decisions, consider the long-term impact. Will cutting staff hours to save money ultimately hurt morale and customer service? Will investing in employee training lead to increased sales and customer loyalty?
It's about taking a strategic, big-picture approach and making choices that align with your values and the bookshop's mission. And I have a feeling that RoleCatcher's AI could provide valuable insights into how those decisions might impact various aspects of the business.
Absolutely. Imagine having access to data-driven projections on how certain choices might affect staff retention, customer satisfaction, or even profitability. That's the power of AI. It can help you make informed decisions that lead to long-term success.
So what does this all mean for our listeners who are prepping for that big interview? I think we've given them a lot to think about.
Absolutely. We've explored the key skills and qualities that bookshop managers need, dissected those challenging interview questions, and highlighted the invaluable resources that RoleCatcher provides.
And remember, the interview is a two-way street. It's a chance for you to assess whether this particular bookshop aligns with your values and vision. Do they prioritize staff development? Do they share your passion for creating a vibrant literary community?
These are important questions to consider because at the end of the day, finding the right fit is essential for both you and the bookshop.
This could be the start of an incredible journey for you, a chance to shape the literary landscape of your community and inspire a new generation of book lovers. So go out there, ace that interview, and write your own chapter in the world of books.